Hey everyone, welcome back to the American Justice Podcast, the final Q&A episode for Season 1. Holy crap.
We are at the end.
Yes.
Can you believe it?
Some people are probably happy about that. They're like, thank God these guys are going to shut up.
Well, we're going to have to come back with some special episodes just to piss them off.
That's right. We will have some special episodes in the off season.
I thought you guys were done.
And yeah, nope. Just when you thought it was safe to go back on the internet.
We're coming back at you.
Oh my goodness, Scott. How's your week going, man?
It's kind of floundering around and not knowing, not working on another episode. I don't know what to do with myself.
Right. What do we do? We'll figure something out.
Or
I'm
as
sure
I say in the episode, what to do, what to do.
We'll figure something out.
We'll definitely figure something out.
I've kind of been in a funk, in like a non-creative funk. I don't feel like writing anything or doing anything right now. I just kind of want to work, eat, sleep, repeat.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot to do with the election and just everything that you're being bombarded with.
The impeding election.
Right, on a day-to-day basis, just kind of looming over your head.
Have you noticed that? I don't remember it being this way in 2016, but it's like everywhere you turn. It's like, vote, go vote. Have you voted yet? Where have you voted? Do you need help voting? It's just crazy. You turn to Facebook, you get on Instagram, you get on you watch the TV news, you watch anywhere. It's like, have you voted yet? Here's how to vote. I don't remember seeing that in 2016.
No, I've never seen this before in my life. It's insane.
It's good because I think we all need to vote, but I'm just saying it seems so.
When I went to vote, I early voted, and when I went to vote, they had a drive-through. They had a portable ballot box that they could put in through the driver's side window for the person to put it on top of their steering wheel and vote. Oh, sorry about that. Vote the same way that we were inside. So, yeah, it was like drive-through voting.
Was that for the handicapped people, or was that?
I saw it was a lot of elderly people.
Yeah.
So
when I went, they had a thing that said if you need help, if you can't get out of your car and you need help, just let us know and call this number and someone will come out and help you. So
yeah,
that's good.
Well, we'll see what it does.
Maybe we should have a special election night coverage.
I think it would be a very one-sided coverage from ours.
Plus every other single person is doing it. So
right, yeah.
I'd rather just sit back, sit in a chair, pull up a drink, tea for me.
Yeah,
something stronger for my roommate.
I think I just want to take some heavy drugs and go to sleep and just wake up the next morning and see who won.
Dude, you don't want to do that because that's what happened to me in 2016. I swear, I went to sleep early and I woke up and I just turned on the news and it was Donald Trump has been elected president, and I just remember looking at it going, what?
Yeah. I was actually in Silt, Colorado, right outside of Glenwood Springs, Colorado. I was in a hotel for the night, and I'd had a bunch of beers, and I was watching the election coverage, and I'm like, surely Hillary Clinton is not going to lose to a reality TV star. And I just kind of passed out, and I woke up, and it had the election results on the screen, and I'm like, what?
Am I still dreaming?
Yeah, how did that happen?
It's it was just one of those things where you're you just don't even consider that that's a possibility, especially with, and that's one of the things that's come up this year is, how all the polls were wrong and all that stuff. And then they realized, well, the polls weren't really wrong. She did win by 3 million votes. It was just the real key, slim margin in some states.
No, and I remember giving him the benefit of the doubt in the beginning. I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is what we need. Maybe we don't need a politician. Maybe, because the very first time I ever voted for a presidential election, I voted for Ross Perot. I was 18 years old, and I voted for Ross Perot. And I remember, thinking, maybe we don't need a politician. Maybe we need a rich guy.
Yeah, this kind of...
Nope.
This kind of notion about not needing politicians has been around for a long time, as you said. H. Ross Perot, and what was that? 88, 92?
92.
92. Yeah, when Bill
1992.
Clinton won. That's what gave Bill Clinton the election.
Yeah.
All the Republicans voting for H. Ross Perot.
So, yeah, no, not a good idea then. Not a good idea now. So,
Yeah, that's what most people don't understand, not getting too political, but we need somebody that's a politician that knows how to deal with foreign governments. And, because to me, that is like the number one role of the president. Like, let Congress and, all those people take care of the United States. You need to be a figurehead for the United States around the world, because we are part of a world economy and a world stage. And, we need to look strong and be strong and, all of that stuff. So that requires a polished politician.
yeah. Well, we shall see. Let's get into the final 5 questions.
Oh, I'm scared.
The final 5 questions. Okay.
I am scared.
This one comes from Rosalita in Dallas.
Rosalita.
Rosalita asks, if Brandon's actual phone records can be located, could Ranger Collins get in some trouble by omitting this information? Could it help free Brandon?
First of all, yes, I'll answer the second part first. Yes, it could help. It could help free Brandon, because if that one phone call at 9:41 p.m. that he made to Morgan can be located where he actually was when he initiated that call, then it would show that he was at the Heath house. And if he was at the Heath house, as we all know from watching the season, there would be absolutely zero time for him to get back to Roy City and get back to Heath and back to Dallas and all of that in the time that we know that we could forensically prove where he was. So, yeah, so if we could locate that one call, it would definitely help him out. As far as Ranger Collins getting in trouble, I mean, Ranger Collins didn't actually author the report. It was authored by the Deputy Marshal Kirk King. So when they turned that report over, he was the one that actually made the file and printed it off and all of that. So it would be difficult though, because you would have to prove that they intentionally omitted it. You could prove that he omitted it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he did it intentionally. I mean, how many times have you sent an email that has, that you meant to attach a file and you didn't attach it? Or, I mean, anybody could say, I didn't realize that, my cursor accidentally went down and deleted 18 calls or 14 hours of calls or whatever. So, and plus at this point, there's not really any motivation, obviously, from any of the law enforcement to going back and look at stuff like that. So, I don't think that there's a real good chance that he would even be questioned, let alone get in trouble.
All right. Rosalita from Dallas. Thank you very much for your question.
Yes.
All right.
Let's find those phone records.
Yeah. Listen, if anybody knows where they are.
If anybody knows where they're at, let us know.
All right. Question number 2 comes from Shawn in Hawkins, Texas. Way out in East Texas.
Hawkins. I know Hawkins. My one of my best friends, his mom lives in Hawkins.
My grandparents had...
That's weird.
My grandparents had a house in Hawkins, Holly Lake Ranch.
I think there's
growing up.
5 people in Hawkins or something?
Something like that. There's
right off of 20 right before you get to Louisiana.
Yeah, there's Holly Lake Ranch. It used to be one of those places in the 80s where they would sucker you in to come watch a video about the place and they'd give you a microwave or something like that. My grandparents had a lake house at Holly Lake. I've heard it used to be a place where people could rent condos or whatever and go and camp or whatever. I heard it's pretty much turned into a retirement community now. So
well, yeah, because all the people that bought them back then were probably in their 40s.
Yeah.
Now they're in their 60s and 70s.
It was good though. You spend summers there, just lifeguarding and swimming and fishing and blah 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 stuff you do in East Texas. Avoid alligators, things like that.
Whose life were you guarding?
Nobody's but my own. Just fond memories of bebopping down the back roads looking for a good fishing spot with a boombox on one shoulder and listening to Van Halen.
We are definitely kids of the 80s.
Cigarette hanging out my lips, mullet blowing in the breeze. Good times. But Shawn,
I'm just getting that visual.
Oh man, we tell you,
that's awesome.
My mullet
Especially smoking a cigarette when you were like 12.
I was 13, 14, something like that. Give me a little bit of credit. Okay.
I mean, as soon as I said we're kids of the 80s, the next statement was with a cigarette hanging out of my mouth.
Hey, that's what we did in the 80s, man. Everybody smoked cigarettes in the 80s. This is what we did.
I quit. The easiest way there is. I never started.
Yeah, no doubt.
I took one. I was probably about that age, 13, 14. Someone brought a cigarette. We had this place that was down the road that was kind of wooded. And one of my friends brought a pack of cigarettes, I guess, from his mom or dad or whatever. And, I took one drag, threw it down, stomped it out. So that's the most disgusting thing I've ever met in my life. And never touched another one.
I've said several times that one of the worst mistakes I ever made in my life was picking up the first one. So,
but obviously we didn't have the same reaction.
No, we did not. No, I'm like, ooh, man, all my stepfathers make this look good, so therefore,
right? I don't know. I think for me, it was like my mom and dad both smoked for a long time while I was a kid, and they since quit long time ago. But when I was a kid, they did. And I think that was part of what actually made me not do it.
Like because they did it.
Yeah, and I saw it kind of, the dirty ashtrays and like the just dirty stuff about it, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, if I smell a cigarette now, first of all, I mean I've been vaping for the last 10 years, and I'm probably a month away from quitting that now. I've taken my nicotine level from a 24 all the way down to a 1.
Awesome.
So I'm almost finished with that. But if I smell a cigarette or cigarette on somebody's clothes now, it just oh man, it's disgusting. I just can't do it. And I'm like, God, is that what I used to smell like? I'll come across like an old shirt or something like that's in the closet. It's fallen off the hanger. It's from like years ago, and it'll smell like cigarette still. And I'm like, oh God, no. Just throw it away.
Burn it.
All right. Question number 2, Shawn from Hawkins.
Hey, Shawn.
Thanks for bringing up the mullet story, man. Good stuff. It says, great job on season 1. Have any of the subjects in question reached out to you to say they've listened or to condemn your accusations?
Well, let's see. As of right now, no. The only communication. Okay, I've had communication with 2 people. Sort of in this case. The first one was Ranger Collins when he was still with the Texas Rangers, and I made my official interview request. He sent it to their director of media relations, and then that guy reached out to me. We went back and forth several times, and he was asking me what's the documentary about, what are the questions you're going to ask, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then eventually they decided not to do it. Ranger Collins was just too busy. And then when I reached out to Mike, he and I, this was before he knew that I was doing a podcast, and before he knew that, he knew I was doing a documentary, but I still was portraying that I was, coming from a position of objectivity, which we all know is not true at this point, but at that time, he actually did communicate, and he actually told me some things, and we had a conversation, and a lot of it was BS, but and I could prove that it was BS, and I could see that and that's one of the things, honestly, that helped cement it for me that he was involved in the crimes, in the murders, and just the way that he flat out lied to me. Like, I think one of the things was he told me that he didn't find out about it until like 2 days later or something, when he was going with, he was in the car with Dusty, and Dusty told him. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, then why are you calling the crime scene the night of that the bodies are found? Like, it doesn't, with a SAR 67, and when he's calling the next day and all of that stuff. So obviously he knew about it that night, and there would be no reason for him not to know about it that night. As soon as Charla found out, of course she's going to call everybody and tell everybody what happened. Poor me, gotta give me some sympathy. So pour me another drink. So, so she's got to tell everybody, right? So she, so there's no reason that Mike would have to hide when he found out about it, except for the fact that he's lying. So, that's, those are the only two people that I've had any communication with, obviously, since we started this podcast, and people have started to realize that, Brandon is innocent, and that I'm coming from the perspective of that he is innocent. No one else has reached out. But I think that we should extend the olive branch once again.
One last time.
If any of them have anything to say and they want to come on and put out their point of view or their story or whatever, I would be more than happy to have a special episode. We'll come back with a special episode, and I will turn the camera on and turn it off when we're done.
And I'll cook dinner.
And we'll have Chad's badass chicken. But no edits, no nothing. Like, come on and say what you got to say, and I will put it out there for my whole audience to hear. And obviously the quieter and more silent everybody is, the more guilty they look. So,
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about that. I would sit anybody that we have discussed in this season. I would sit them right here between us, and just let them go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell us what you got to tell us.
Put a clock behind us so everyone can tell that we haven't like cut it or anything. Just 100% honesty from their point of view.
Mm-hmm. So. If you have nothing to hide, then come on down.
I think that's great. All right, Shawn from Hawkins, thank you very much for your question. We're going to take a quick break, have a word from our sponsors, and we will be back with the final 3 questions of the season.
Wow.
Right? All right, stick tight. We'll be back.
Be right back.
I don't suffer from insanity. I enjoy every minute of it. Did you know it's illegal for donkeys to sleep in bathtubs in Arizona? Also, to the guy who invented Zero, thanks for nothing. These are just a few examples of some of the great mugs you can get at goodmonkeymugs.com. With same-day shipping on all orders placed before 3 p.m., your new mug will be at your doorstep in no time. Don't know what to give that coworker for their birthday? Or just want to brighten someone's day with a funny or inspirational quote? goodmonkeymugs.com is the place for you. And if you use the code AJARMY, your first mug is half price. Again, that's goodmonkeymugs.com. You'll go ape for our mugs.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the American Justice Podcast Q&A edition for the final episode. This is the season finale.
I can't believe we're in the last episode, the last segment of the last Q&A of the last episode.
If this was The Walking Dead, we'd kill off a major character. Seriously.
I think there's been enough killing in the
there'd be some kind of cliffhanger.
Right?
Okay. Let's get on with the final 3 questions here.
Maybe while we're like at the very end of when we're about to go off, Mike will call us on the phone. What do you think? Or Charla. That would be weird if like I looked at the caller ID when it was ringing and it said like whatever her last name is. I don't know why we decided not to say her current last name, but we're not. And then comma Charla, and I'm like, oh shit. Maybe she will come on and say something.
Okay, this is from Anonymous in Rockwall.
Maybe she'll tell us how she really did it.
Maybe. How I did it. Maybe that's a book.
What was O.J. Simpson's? I did not kill my wife, but if I did, this is how I would have done it.
Right.
I was like, are you freaking kidding to write a book like that? Like, oh my God. At this point, O.J. Simpson, you're old. Just do an interview that says that you did it.
Yeah.
You can't be convicted for it again, or tried for it again. So just give us all the answer that we know it is.
Right.
All right. Sorry.
That's all right. This
true
comes
crime
from
rant.
Anonymous in Rockwall. Anonymous. You know, when they come from Anonymous, chances are they know somebody.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
It says, I've listened to the entire season and kept waiting for you to say why Norma Etherington was never investigated as a suspect. She knew way too much before any factual information was released to the families, the media, or the public in general. Has any new information surfaced about her since Brandon's sentencing?
Well, obviously, the reason she wasn't investigated is because the only person that they were investigating was Brandon. I think we said that in the episode that if you look at Ranger Collins' investigative report, every single thing that he does is centered around proving Brandon did it. You know, whether he's talking to his college friends, whether he's, and he goes under the guise of, hey, we're just here to find information, or we're doing an actual investigation. BS. We all know that you're there because, I mean, you can hear it that when Alex first brings up the whole suitcase incident, when Brandon freaked out because they were going through his suitcase, you could just see Ranger Collins. He like sits up in his chair. He goes, "Did he really?" Like, I mean, you could just, he's sitting there like writing stuff down. As soon as you say something that makes Brandon look guilty, he like sits up in his chair and he like, comes to attention. I mean, it's just crazy.
In the car on the 16th that night, we're going back to my dad's house and joking around. There's 2 suitcases in the back, and I guess they were Rob's and Brandon's. And James and I opened the first one. We were just kind of playing around with stuff in there, and we didn't know it was Rob's. We thought it was Brandon's. We were just joking around. And so we put the stuff back in, and I go to open Brandon's, and he flipped out.
Did he really?
But anyway, so that's why she wasn't investigated. I think anybody looking at the case now, if they were to go back and investigate it independently without bias at this point, I think Norma would be a huge part of that investigation. But that's why she wasn't investigated then. And then as far as any new information coming out about her, I mean, if you got away with murder, would you be out there in the public and making a spectacle of yourself?
No,
I wouldn't.
Not at all. No.
Yeah.
I would be like the world's biggest recluse.
Right, exactly. And that's pretty much what she did.
Oh, my goodness.
Funny you should say that.
I drove by the Texas Ranger Hall of Fame this weekend in Waco. And I
saw your post.
I had every intention of stopping, but the lights were out.
Well, now we know why I'm wearing my shirt. Ranger Collins does it with the lights off. Apparently, he learned that in Ranger School.
All right. Anonymous from Rockwall, Texas. Thank you very much for your finger pointing and your questions. Right. And feel free to reach out to us mid-season or during the season break if you happen to find out the answer to any of these questions.
Yes,
because
please.
Something tells me maybe you know already. You just want to see what we know.
Right. Of course, and I have to put out the disclaimer that, a lot of the stuff that we talk about in the season is, that's stuff that we can publicly talk about. There are things that we know that, being privileged to the case and the investigation that's ongoing, that we know that we can't talk about it. We ran into a pretty hard stop when we got to Brandon's phone records and all of that stuff. So that there's a lot of stuff that we know that's in the ongoing investigation we just can't talk about. So, was there any information that came out about Norma since then? It's like there may or may not be. But if there was something that was useful to Brandon in his appeal, we wouldn't be able to talk about it.
All right. Anonymous from Rockwall. You know.
You know.
Okay. Question number 4. Why does everything revolve around sex when it comes to C. Derick Miller? I've just read Starving Zoe. Ouch. Billy from Campbell, Texas.
Oh, Billy. You'll never be the same.
People say, why does everything revolve around sex when it comes to you? Why does everything everywhere around everybody revolve around...
Bless you.
Yeah. Revolve around sex. It totally does. The whole world revolves around sex. Everybody does everything for sex. The whole reason that anyone is here is because of sex. Somebody had sex, and here you are.
And here you are.
Sex makes people, just like I said in my little opinion, sex makes people do crazy things.
Right.
And like I said, go back and watch whatever channel that is that plays like 8-hour-long marathons of Snapped.
Oh, yeah.
It all revolves around sex.
Yeah. And even the biggest quote unquote scandal of this whole case was the revelation that Brandon had done gay porn. And it's like if there wasn't such a stigma around sex, it wouldn't have been that big a deal. Okay, so he's done gay porn.
Yeah, the investigators were freaked out because he was gay. The jury was freaked out because he was gay. This whole case was about sex and sexuality.
Right.
So why does everything revolve around sex when it comes to C. Derick Miller? Because C. Derick Miller calls it like he sees it, baby.
That's right.
And anybody who calls it any other way is in denial.
Yep.
So, Billy from Campbell, first of all, thanks for reading Starving Zoe.
Yeah.
Second of all, C. Derick Miller calls it like he sees it.
Mm-hmm. If you don't want to know, don't ask.
And if you think that I'm just doing it because of this case, wait till next season. I'm going to call that one like I see it too. All right. The final question.
Oh, no.
The final question of season 1.
What will we do?
We will read it, and then we will answer it, and then we will turn off the cameras.
In a land far away.
In a land where everything revolves around sex.
Starring C. Derick Miller.
Nobody wants to see that. I haven't started any porn either. Not that, well.
Not released to the public.
Not released to the public. Not that's on a format. Not that's on a format that anybody would have.
The mini DV tapes.
Yeah, nobody can play those anymore. I think maybe full VHS. Why am I even going into this?
I was gonna say I've got like 200 mini DV tapes that I'm trying to find a player for.
Man, they're so hard to find. They are so hard to find. Betamax.
Oh, God. Beta was like here and gone before you even like,
right.
It was like, oh, look, this beta player. And then like literally like the next year or maybe even a couple months later, oh, here's a VHS player. And,
right.
And
it
everybody
was kind of like HD DVD.
Yeah.
It came out at the same time as Blu-ray 1, right. HD DVD went right out. So
how'd that go? Okay.
William from Denison, Texas.
Oh, William has the privilege of being the last question.
And he has a lot of consonants. William from Denison, Texas.
Denison.
Not too
Denison?
Far. By Sherman. Not too far.
Oh, yeah.
It's Texas-Oklahoma border. Lake Texoma.
Yeah. Yeah, Lake Texoma.
Okay. Did the crime scene reconstructionist you hired find anything at all that could help Brandon?
Yes. Thank you guys for joining us. And
we're not going to tell you. We're not going to tell you.
Yeah. One of the things that is the biggest things that we can't talk about is a crime scene reconstructionist. He was able to go in there and just from studying the, all of the video and the pictures and, all of that stuff, doing complete diagrams, he was able to determine a lot of stuff. And a couple of the things that he was able to forensically prove, not only prove Brandon didn't do it, but also heavily lean towards the people that we suspect did do it. That's pretty much all I can say. I wish I could say more. Maybe when we, all of this stuff will come out when Brandon actually files his writ of actual innocence. When that's filed, we will definitely have a special episode that we will come in and talk about all of this stuff. And you guys are going to be, it's going to blow your socks off because some of this information that he was able to prove is very inculpatory towards the people that we believe committed this crime.
All right. William from Denison. Sorry, we really couldn't tell you anything, but in a roundabout sort of way, we kind of did. So, depends on your point of view.
Depends on your point of view. If you want to talk about it personally, give me a call.
Well, that's it, Scott. Wow, man.
Wow. Let me just, do you mind if I read the inscription that you...
Hey, go ahead. Go right ahead.
So, Mr. C. Derick Miller was very nice and brought me an autographed copy of Starving Zoe. And, you know, when he got here, it was like I was just trying to get everything set up, trying to get clean. So I just, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Set it down. Didn't even look at the inscription. And then right before we started, he read me what he wrote in there. And I have to read this for you guys because I think it's a fitting way to end our season. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. It says, to Scott, this is crazier than Charla Woodruff's medical records. Enjoy. That is so true. And so thank you very much, by the way.
You're
I appreciate it. That is so true about this season. I'm sure about the book, and I will tell you as soon as I read it. But yeah, that is so indicative of this season. And this season has been super crazy because there's so much information that I don't think we'll ever realize before. And, you know, one of the things that I did this for, is so that when we do the documentary or the docuseries, and there's inevitably going to be questions that we can't answer because of time restraints and just the format of being on video. And so I'll be able to point people to the podcast to be able to kind of fill in all the gaps. And I hope that we've done a complete job and you guys have all of the information that we have, at least that we can release, and that you can make up your mind and vote not guilty.
All right. Well, that's it. This is it. What
do we do? I don't even know what we do. Do we even do we say goodbye or do we just kind of sit here and
happy trails to you
until we meet again?
Oh.
We saved our singing until the very end. So people, because if they would have heard that, well, mine anyway, if they would have heard my singing before, they would have stopped tuning in like long ago. But damn it, the last minute of the last episode, I sang.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. This entire last year, when we started this thing, there was no pandemic. And it hit us like what, episode 3?
Yeah, 2 or
I think
3, yeah.
Episode 2 or 3, it hit us. We were doing the Zoom meetings for the Q&As, and just the whole world has gone to hell, returned, went back to hell. We're still in hell. Welcome to hell. Anyway,
Welcome to hell.
While you're in hell, stay aware,
Stay strong.
and get involved. We'll see you guys next season.
Bye.